September 3rd, 1939. Britain and France declare war on Germany. Across Europe, millions brace for the thunder of battle. But then, nothing. For ordinary people, this was deeply confusing. Hadn't their leaders promised that war meant immediate danger? Families anxiously huddled around radios each night, waiting for word of battles that never came. The absence of fighting gave some a flicker of hope that perhaps diplomacy might still prevail. But for most, it only deepened the sense of dread. Followed was a strange and uneasy calm. A period the press soon called the Phony War. For 8 long months, the Western Front remained eerily quiet. French soldiers dug in behind the Maginot Line, while British troops, the so-called British Expeditionary Force, waited in northern France. Their enemy sat just a few miles away, behind Germany's Sitzkrieg line. Both sides loaded with weapons, but neither struck. To the men in the trenches, it felt like waiting for a storm that would not break. Letters home often spoke of boredom rather than bravery. Soldiers played cards, drilled endlessly, and tried to stave off the creeping anxiety that came with the waiting. The eerie stillness earned the front another nickname, the Sitzkrieg, or sitting war. In Britain, the home front prepared for the worst. Children were evacuated from cities. Gas masks were issued to every household. Air raid shelters dotted the streets. Night after night, cities went dark under strict blackout orders, as if danger might fall from the sky at any moment. But those feared German bombers never came. Londoners soon joked that the only raids they faced were the false alarms that sent them scrambling into the night. Instead of bombs, the war was fought with leaflets. The Royal Air Force dropped millions of pamphlets over German cities. Attempts at propaganda that the Germans mockingly called Confetti Raids. For many civilians, it seemed as though the war existed only in headlines. Yet beneath the quiet, armies were mobilizing, industries arming, and governments plotting their next moves. Elsewhere in Europe, the conflict was very real. In the bitter winter of 1939, the Soviet Union invaded Finland. Outnumbered and undersupplied, the Finns fought with extraordinary courage, holding off the Red Army in brutal, snowbound battles. The world took notice. Images of white-clad Finnish ski troops became symbols of resistance. And though Finland would ultimately lose, the war exposed the weaknesses of Stalin's army. Weaknesses Hitler would later underestimate. Meanwhile, Adolf Hitler stood triumphant after his conquest of Poland. He used the lull to consolidate power, prepare for the next strike, and unleash a flood of propaganda. To the German people, it seemed as though their Führer had delivered peace on his terms. But behind closed doors, Hitler's plans for the West were already in motion. German generals refined their blitzkrieg tactics, studying the lessons of Poland and preparing to unleash them on Western Europe. Secretly, Hitler's staff also debated the invasion of Norway, knowing its ports would be vital for securing iron ore shipments from Scandinavia. The quiet months were not wasted. They were the careful drawing of a knife before the plunge. By the spring of 1940, the so-called strange calm was about to shatter. On April 9th, German forces surged into Denmark and Norway. A month later, the Blitzkrieg thundered into Belgium, the Netherlands, and finally, France itself. The Phony War was over. Europe was about to face the full fury of Hitler's war machine. Looking back, the Phony War seems almost surreal. A pause in a catastrophe. A moment when people dared